Welcome to the 24th floor. I'm Richard Denson. We've got a packed show today, so let's get it cracking. As we talk about all the time, Memphis is a basketball city. So once again, we start things with hoops, but not the Grizzlies or the Tigers. Now, a few months ago, we welcomed Lemoyne-Owen's new athletic director to the 24th floor to talk about the vision for the department. Well, we're continuing that conversation by welcoming the man leading the Magicians on the hardwood after taking a team pick to finish near the bottom of the SEAC and guiding it to 13 wins in conference, a conference tournament victory in the program's best year in several seasons. Head coach Faraji Phillips joins us now. Coach, welcome to the 24th floor, my guy. I'm glad to finally have you on.
Thank you.
We're trying to get you on for the tourney, but we know how locked in you are with
recruiting and getting guys, acclimated to getting on campus this week. And so it's been kind of busy, but, man, I'm thankful to be on. Thank you for having me and inviting me to come on with you.
Absolutely. And like I told you before we started rolling, I love the job that you're doing, especially a guy like yourself who has tested himself in the assistant coach ranks, coached under Jerry Stackhouse, NBA legend, Penny Hardaway, NBA legend at Memphis, to now lead your own program. And like we said, you guys were picked to finish near last in the conference and to turn it around and be one of the conference's best. Tell me about all of that, the whole turnaround for that.
I think the main thing for us going into last year, starting from the very bottom and building a foundation and a culture that we think will reflect in winning, I think the main thing that we kind of communicated with our players was sacrifice is going to be the big piece of what we're trying to do. Individually, we have to lose for the team to gain. And so, man, holistically, our players bought into it. And then we had some things that we didn't negotiate from. We were a program that is technique-driven and principle-guided. Everything we do is based on our techniques and what we want to do and our principles, and we don't waver from that. And we have a few non-negotiables that we don't give into. And so we had a bunch of guys, man, even from our administrative standpoint, that bought into what we were trying to establish and get accomplished. And so, it led to some success in our first year, something that we're really, really proud of, and we have a lot of momentum going into this year.
Something that I see a lot when reading about your program, and something that I noticed when I was talking to Mr. Smothers, is you all are about culture.
Yeah.
And for you, culture sometimes comes before basketball. Why is that a first priority?
Culture is so much, we try to put a spin on culture as coaches. Culture for me is not so much what you enforce, it's what you allow. We are a program that has standards. There are certain things that we don't allow, certain things that we don't waver from. And so, and we understand that, hey, we're leaders of men. I've been around several guys who are great coaches and understand how to be a great basketball coach and lead programs. But at the end of the day, I think more so than anything, I'm a leader of men, and I don't take that for granted. And I'm thankful that the Lord has given me an opportunity to be in this position, to be used as his vessel to lead young men.
Was there ever a moment during this season where you could start seeing the tide turn, where you're like, okay, this group is really starting to believe and buy in? Or was it you saw it coming straight out of training camp?
A little bit of both. We saw we had, some pieces in place that we could have some success, but I don't think we would envision winning 13 games in our conference and finishing in the top third of our conference and hosting a playoff game and winning that playoff game for the first time in several decades. I didn't think we would get that done, but, with the work that we put in over the course of the season, our trajectory started aspiring upwards, and we felt like we could do some really promising things. And so we were able to have some success in that regard, and, man, we're only getting started.
Now, if you look at your level with HBCU Division II, so many guys, especially in basketball, want instant gratification.
Yeah.
So they want to get their numbers up, especially since they're trying to get to that next spot. How was it for you as a coach, being in year one, getting guys to kind of like buy in and kind of sacrifice that instant gratification, be like, they're not just going to look for their own shot? You might have some guys be like, I want to get 20, I want to get 20. Sure. But guys, to have the season you all had, it took sacrifice. Tell me about that.
Well, at the end of the day, coaches want winners.
Yeah.
Coaches don't want guys that feel like I got to take every shot, every trip down on offense. Coaches want winners because winners keep our jobs. And so that's been my spiel to our players. How can you affect winning? If you feel like you can only affect winning by scoring and putting the ball in the basket, you're not going to have no staying power in this game. And so we try to share with our guys, from a vantage point of us being at the high level for several years, me and one of my assistant coaches, that we know exactly what that looks like and we know what that commands on a daily basis. And so we've allowed our guys to understand and kind of walk in our shoes like, hey, your shot attempts, your offensive mindset, we love it, but at the same time, you have to be willing to understand, I got to give a little bit more than I can get. And so our guys, man, bought into that very early. And one of our best players, who was not a starter at the beginning of the year, he's had an opportunity to get in the portal, which we encouraged him to do. And now he's at Drexel playing Division I basketball, and he benefited from it greatly.
I was just about to bring him up because you had that guy you were mentioning, Ladrikis Pittman, who is a Memphis native, by the way.
Question.
And you had a guy like him. You had Desmond Bratcher. Both of them earned conference recognition.
Right.
How rewarding is it to see that individual growth match the team's success?
Well, it's awesome, man, because in regards to Ladrikis, we saw every day how much work he put in. We saw his dedication to the craft. We saw his dedication to our team. We saw his commitment and unselfishness to our program from a leadership vantage point, and also obviously from his ability to play. And there's no better person deserving to have that opportunity than him, because he sacrificed so much of his game. And, you know, very often in our recruiting process this spring, and then with our players that's coming back, I've been able to use him as an example, because he's a definite blueprint of what it takes to be able to get to that next level and benefit from it greatly.
I was just about to get to that. And when you talk about when you're recruiting, what's the pitch? So I guess you kind of can expound a little bit on that. If I'm a recruit, especially in Memphis, a Memphian,
for sure.
seeing Ladrikis, why should I come play for Faraji Phillips?
Well, you're going to get a Division I basketball experience at a D2 school. You know, I like to say I came out of high school right to the SEC, and then I went from the SEC right to the University of Memphis. And so I didn't, thank God, I'm grateful for the opportunity to get to the college level, but I didn't go from HBCU, mid-major, JUCO, straight, you know, to where I was able to get to Vandy. I went from high school straight to the SEC as a fairly brand new coach at the college level. And so I learned under great guys and great coaches like Stack and Penny. And so that's all I know, and that's all I'm going to do and provide for our kids that come and play for us, that take that chance with us and give us that opportunity of trust to know that exactly what we're selling, we're going to provide. And so we're going to provide you with a Division I basketball experience in everything that we do, from our preparation, from the time that we step on campus and how we carry ourselves with integrity and character. We have a strength and conditioning coach who's done a great job of getting our guys healthy and keeping them on the floor, because the best ability at the end of the day is availability.
Yes,
and so we've had strength and conditioning coach who's done a great job, as I've alluded to, and then our coaches, man, Coach Dyson, who's one of my assistants, who was with me at Memphis, and all we're going to do is provide them with a Division I basketball experience, and then it's going to be at a D2 institution, which is a great institution in itself.
Now, I talked about this with Dr. Smothers. We hear it all the time from Penny. We say it all the time on this show. This is a basketball city. With the Grizzlies, with the high school, and so it's a lot of basketball talent, you know it. And so how important is it for Lemoyne-Owen to keep some of that talent right here at home? Because we're already seeing with Penny, and with this year's team, it seems to have a little bit more of a Memphis talent. And you all obviously have shown that you can keep guys here in Memphis to play with Ladrikis and Desmond. How important is it for Lemoyne to keep that going for Memphians?
I mean, it's very important. At the end of the day, you know, we're the only HBCU in Memphis. You know, we're the only HBCU school in this city. And so that means a lot to us. And so we understand what that has to offer, but it also has some drawbacks, because we need help in funding. We need help with certain things that can provide us with certain resources that could be appealing to our young people around the city. But at the end of the day, they don't have to go several miles or several states away to get what we have to offer. We can do the things that they need to get to that next level, to help them be a better basketball player and to be a better man at the end of the day. And so they can have all of those things right here in Memphis at Lemoyne-Owen under our basketball program.
Because you kind of have a straight line approach with how you recruit, has that made it a little bit easier despite the transfer portal, or is it still, what are the challenges that you face on the recruiting trail with the transfer portal being what it is?
Well, I mean, for us personally, you know, we don't have all the bells and whistles that other institutions have. We're in a competitive environment. We understand that. You know, we don't have the facilities. We don't have certain things that other programs have, even in our conference, right? But what we do have is, again, and I can't stress it enough, you're going to get a Division I basketball experience at a D2 school, which is going to propel you and help you get to that level if the opportunity comes, and you'll be more than ready. And so, which leads me to the next point is, you know, we need some help financially. You know, we need some things that could be happening for us that could help us get, you know, over certain hurdles that we face, and it's not something that we can't offer. You know, our people in this city who has an attachment to Lemoyne-Owen. We're asking for their help. We're asking for their financial contributions. And we need it because, again, we have a group of young people that are taking the chance with us and entrusting us with their ability. And so we want to come through as best as we can, and we don't have all the things that other schools have. But, man, we could give them the best type of gear. We can give them the best type of attire. We can give them the best type of things that we can control with the resources that we have that can offset some of the things right now that's beyond our reach.
Control what you can control. And what I love about when I did cover you all last year in that conference tournament was the crowd. Because even though, like you said, the facilities may not be the best or something like that, the fact that for a conference tournament game, the crowd showed out, it was loud in there.
Absolutely, yeah.
It was hectic,
sure.
you know, in a good way, hectic in a good way. So it's there, we just need more of it. And like what I talked to Dr. Smothers about, I would love for one day for you all to be able to play in FedEx Forum.
For sure.
Who says FedEx Forum should only be for the Grizzlies and Tigers?
Plant that seed.
I need to see more purple and black
seed.
in there, exactly. So I love what you're building. I love what Dr. Smothers is planning to build now that he's on board. And coming off of one of your best seasons, how do you make sure that wasn't the ceiling? And how do you keep growing from that? But that hopefully that's just the foundation.
I mean, I think culture helps you sustain, right? Culture helps you sustain. You know, we don't have things that we allow to happen in our culture and in our program that we have to come back 3 or 4 months from now to talk about and address. You know, we nip it in the bud very early. Our guys know pretty much for the last couple of days that we've been able to be together, you know, what is allowed and what's not allowed. And so we don't waver from those things, right? You know, we stand steadfast in what we believe in and what we're going to allow our program to look like and reflect. And it's going to be a program that speaks about integrity and character, which represents our institution in a really professional way. And then we're going to get a group of guys that reflect the type of style of basketball that we want to go out and play and perform at a high level. And so we've been able to do that in recruiting. We're excited about the guys that we have. We have several young men that are here from Memphis who we are raving about right now in Galvin Fitzpatrick and Justin Edwards.
Yeah.
And so, man, we're excited about those young people. And, you know, we're looking to have a really good year. But, hey, we're not going to put the end before the journey begins. We got work to do, and we're going to do our best to get to that level that we know we can reach.
Fitzpatrick comes from Whitehaven, doesn't he?
Yes, sir, he does.
I know. I saw a lot of Whitehaven this past season. Them Whitehaven, man, them my guys over there. Now, Coach, they got 2 minutes in my ear, so let's get some rapid fire if you're good with that.
For sure.
All right, so let's go rapid fire. Favorite road gym in the SEAC?
Clark, Atlanta.
Okay, I'm an Atlanta guy. You know, that's music to my ears. Born and raised in Atlanta. Well, I was born in Columbus, Georgia, but raised in Atlanta. So you know I love about Clark.
I can't leave out Tuskegee. They a tough environment too, but it's for players. You know, it's a fun environment to play in when you have the crowd of the opposite team that's really against you every possession.
So is that safe to say Tuskegee is the toughest place to play?
They probably would supersede Clark, Atlanta.
That was going to be my next question. Toughest place to play. Who's the best player you've ever coached?
Oh, man, you put me on the spot.
I had to.
I would much rather go from level to level.
Yeah.
Probably high school, it's a toss-up between Jeremiah Martin and Matthew Morrell.
Okay, Mr. Morrell, Ole Miss.
Yeah, in the college game, it probably would be, you know, you have Scottie Pippen, who I coached at Vandy. You have Kendrick Davis, who I coached here in Memphis. You have Aaron Naismith, who's with the Pacers, who I coached at Vandy. And then also, you know, you got David Jones, who's a beast.
That was my guy.
He was different. So, I mean, I could go on. So, you know, I love all those guys. I keep in touch with them as well.
Yeah.
But, man, you know, I don't really have a favorite because all of them are like, you know, sons and brothers to me. But, man, those 4 stand out for sure.
Now, this one's not sports related. What's your favorite Memphis restaurant?
Oh, man. Oddly enough, you know, I would have to say Four-Way, which is right down the street from Lemoyne.
I haven't tried them yet, but it's on my list.
See Miss Patrice, man. She does a phenomenal job, and I think she just won the best chicken tenders in the whole city. Okay. You know, and that's not what they're known for, oddly enough. But Four-Way is one of my favorite restaurants. Ching's, which is on Getwell, that's a favorite of mine as well. They have some good wings there. Really, really good wings.
It's starting to be small though.
Well, you know, hey, we're in the time.
It's like as big as my index finger.
Hey, listen, Mr. Lafayette probably is going to correct that once he see it, but
I hope so.
Ching's is a great spot, but there's a whole lot of them, man. You can't go wrong in Memphis with food.
Yeah. Now, last one before I let you go. If someone has never been to a Lemoyne-Owen game, why should they come this season?
I mean, the product is different now. You know, the environment is different, and what we're providing in terms of our team on the floor is something to support. It's a fun-loving environment in terms of our guys going out and competing. You know, we don't compete, we don't prepare, and we don't play based on our circumstances. We know we're up against some things that we can't control, but man, we have a group of guys, we have a program that is really thriving through trial and tribulation, and we like to say that, hey man, come out and support us this year. We need your support, and we're hoping to be able to kind of get to the next level than what we were last year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, we need to see more purple and black.
For sure.
I know this city is all blue with
And
the
listen,
Grizzlies and the
when
Tigers.
I come back, we got to get some purple and black.
That's
on these
what I'm
shells,
saying,
man. I
Coach.
gotta bring
You
something to
see, swag. You see, we got our high school swag.
Yeah,
behind
I
you.
got to
We need
bring
some
some.
more.
I got to bring some LOC swag in there.
Exactly. Thank you. You can catch your first look at this year's Magicians during Magician Madness. Say that fast 3 times on October 17th. Y'all regular season openers on October 24th, correct?
That's right. Yep.
Against Fisk.
Yep.
Bruce Johnson Hall.
Yep.
Be there. Coach, thank you.
man. Appreciate you for having me.
Absolutely.
Wish you
All
the
right.
best.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, coming up, we stay on the hardwood. Coach Phillips, he knows the Memphis program well from his time as a Tigers assistant, and now Penny Hardaway preparing to lead a completely rebuilt roster into a new season. We'll hear from Penny and some of the newest Tigers and break down what stood out from both basketball and football media day. That's next on the 24th floor. Welcome back to the 24th floor. It's been a busy couple of weeks for Memphis athletics. Charles Huff met with the media as football camp approaches, while Penny Hardaway introduced a new-look basketball team. Now, I listened to hours of press conferences, and one message kept coming up over and over again. Here's Penny Hardaway.
Yeah, they've been intentional on being together and being close. They keep saying the same things about we don't have a year to waste. We don't need selfishness. We want to do sacrifice. You know, it's no I, it's we, it's us, so there's no me. And I love that about them. You know, they're all into each other a lot. They're going out to eat, they're going to the sporting events, they're doing everything together, and I love that.
All right, and joining me now to break down all of this is my co-host, Ruben Diaz. Ruben, good to have you back with us.
Yeah, I've been on the road running around, and now I'm back in the building.
Seems like you got your voice back.
I'm getting it back, be yelling at them kids for, 20 games. It gets to you after a while.
How often you think Coach Penny Hardaway yells at his guys? He doesn't
Every
seem like
single day in practice.
Well, he seems so even-keeled.
Every single day in practice.
Now, my biggest takeaway from what Mr. Hardaway said is he didn't talk about really any offense or defense in this press conference. He kept talking about chemistry. What do you take out of that?
That's because that's what's lost right now in college athletics. With the amount of moves made in transfer portals, with new bodies coming in, back and forth. Culture and chemistry are two things that every college coach is trying to find a way to create and build. So that's why that's the theme right now. That's the outward theme. That's the inward theme. I do like to hear that his team is doing so much stuff together because that is a big deal. I would tell people all the time, if you get to where you like each other off the court, then when things get tough on the court, you don't tend to go at each other. You tend to bond closer to each other. So when you're friends off the court and then the point guard misses you when you're wide open for a 3 in one possession, you don't get in your feelings about it because you're tight. You're cool. You can say, hey, bro, I was open that time. Whereas if you're not tight and he misses you, you start thinking, bro don't want to see me shine. He ain't going to give me the ball.
I think it's like that in everything. It's even like that in our industry.
It's just how if you create that chemistry, it alleviates a lot of the drama, which that also tells me that they probably experienced a lot of drama on the court and behind closed doors between that group last year that they're trying to negate by bringing in the right kind of kids.
Do you think that that's a stigma? Because I feel like we've said that in several seasons with Hardaway where the chemistry isn't there. So my thing is when you have a limited time to kind of put this team together, can that chemistry really be made so quickly to gel before you actually start playing games?
Yeah, because you're not talking about on-court chemistry. Hooping is hooping is hooping, right? And you're going to call a handful of sets, but for the most part, you're running ISOs, pick and rolls, read and react type offense. So what you're really trying to build is off-court chemistry that then translates to on-court communication and on-court chemistry as well. So yes, because while they have limited time that coaches can be with players during this time frame, there's unlimited time that players can be with players. Yeah. The players can get together and go to the gym on their own all day long. They can go to the movies, they can go eat dinner, they can go hang out, they can do their thing together all day long. The coaches can't be with them all the time. So I think you can definitely build chemistry as long as it's something that is being actively pursued within the program, and it sounds like it's being actively pursued.
So we heard from Penny talk about the chemistry. Let's hear from one of the players, one of the new players, by the way. Take a listen.
we like each other, and that's the biggest thing as a team that you got to have if you want to win a championship. Everybody has to like each other. Everybody has to be on one accord. So just in practice, on and off the court, again, like we just like each other. We're gonna play for each other. We're gonna fight for each other. That's what I see from us right now.
See, Ruben, it seems like it's going back to what you said, because he essentially echoed what Penny said about these guys liking each other. And then it's interesting coming from him, because he's a Memphis guy, but he left and came back. And for him to, and of course we don't have to talk about his notoriety, but we also know that for him, in coming back, he's helping establish something, but also getting the guys on who aren't familiar with Memphis. Because in that press conference, he talked about how some of the out-of-state guys are already catching on to the lingo.
Yeah, so the truth is you can't build chemistry if you don't have players, particularly leaders, who want there to be chemistry.
Yeah.
You know, if your leader doesn't encourage and, you know, even for my teams, right, we'd say whoever the leader is on any given team, I'm wanting to make sure that person is reaching out to all the players, not just their best friends. Hey, me and my best friend are going to go do this, but I didn't reach out to the whole team and make sure everybody wanted to go. So you have
always cliques.
You have to eliminate a lot of those cliques. Now, there's no law that says everybody has to be best friends all the time, but you have to include everybody. So really what you're seeing sounds like to me, a mandate from the top. Penny and company have said to their leaders, the people that they feel like are going to be the leaders on the team, hey, we want you guys to be spending time together. And we want to see who's going to be smart enough, grown enough, and mature enough to make that happen. And then now you've got kids like Josh who are saying, hey, we're spending that time together because it's the right thing to do. So I think you'll see a total shift in the way this team plays next season because these guys will play harder for each other than last year's team.
Do you think this is the most Memphis team Penny's had in a while? Because you got Josh, Memphis native. You got Cello Jackson, Memphis native. You got Fred Smith Jr., Memphis native. I feel like it's one more person I can't think of. I'm blanking. But do you think this is the most Memphis team Penny's had in a while?
I mean, it probably is, but the truth is, in college basketball and college sports right now, you don't really get hometown teams anymore. It's not really like that.
Because of that bag.
Yeah,
that bag be a little different.
So for him to create a team that's got 2 or 3 kids from the area is far and above what most teams are going to go. Go look up the roster for your favorite team right now, and you're not going to see very many kids from that town on that team. It just doesn't work very often. Memphis just happens to be a big-time basketball city, and so because there's a lot of talent that comes out of Memphis, it's a little easier. It's a little it is a little less difficult probably to find players that fit what you need who also have the skill set and talent that happen to be from your area.
Now, one thing you talked about was leadership, and one player Penny appears to be counting on to set the standard is a transfer senior, point guard Jaden Reed, whose 5 assists were some of the top in the Big Ten Conference. Reed says coaches have already challenged him to become a more demanding leader. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Make demanding more. I feel like I'm being too nice right now. That's what a lot of coaches are telling me, just demanding excellence out of everybody because that's the only way. We're playing a lot of good teams, so the shortcutting drills and shortcutting scrimmages, not being in the gaps, not boxing out, not being in the right spots, you're going to lose a lot of games to a lot of good teams.
Ruben, you're a coach. What do you take out of that?
Yeah, that's right. So we always say that it's not necessarily what you say, but how you say it as well. And I always tell people, coach people how you want to be coached, right? Like, so if I'm gonna get on you about not boxing out, then it's got to be the way that I want to be, because this generation of player doesn't respond to Bobby Knight, right? It's not the same way. So, but him being too nice would be, we say that sometimes, where it's like, hey, in the heat of the moment. My son's a quarterback. I tell him all the time, in that moment, you got to say, bro, you got to be here. It's the way it is, right? Hey, and then after it's over, you can buddy it up. But in that moment, you got to get business. It's business. And so I think that the message is correct. If you're going to lead, you have to have a leader's voice, and you have to be willing to say, hey, I'll sweep the floor just like anybody else if that's what it takes for us to win.
Do you think it's saying something that in the first press conference that we've heard from this new look Memphis basketball that he chose those 2 guys? Because it seems like if you look on social media, all the hype has been over your guy, Almodovar, who had the dunk. He's been getting more of the noise. Obviously, Fred Smith is getting it and Cello Jackson. But the first group, he chose those 2. So is it safe to say you think those will be the 2 guys who are probably the leaders of the team?
I think they're probably the 2 guys that are leading the preseason right now, that they're probably doing things the right way in preseason. And so coach is saying, hey, because to me that's like It's like a carrot, right? Hey, you're doing your job, you're handling business, you go to media days. But by midway through the season, if those guys aren't carrying the bucket, they're not carrying the weight right, then we're going to be hearing from other people consistently. Yeah.
Is that always weird for a team to do that, where you come in and you think it's going to be one guy who's the leader and then it changes? Because at least with my high school team, it stayed the same people the whole way out, regardless of how they were performing, just because of respect. But from you as a coach, how do you do that, where you be like, okay, going in, I want you to lead, but you're not performing like that, so we're going to go with him?
Sometimes leadership isn't like points, right? It's like you could be my leader and you don't have to be the leading scorer on my team. Mm-hmm. Leadership is about how everybody responds to the way you play. Like if you're the person out there diving on the floor for every loose ball, clapping it up in every timeout, being the best cheerleader when you're on the bench instead of, sulking and being in your feelings because you're not on the team, all those things are leadership qualities that translate to other people following your lead. Being a leader just means that other people tend to follow what you do. And so I would say it's not normally, and there's some learning in here too, because Coach Penny is also teaching these guys how to be leaders. Mm-hmm. That's why they're telling him, they're telling Reed, you got to have you can't be so nice, you got to be more demanding. They're still trying to teach some of these young guys how to be good leaders. And you can't pull somebody from a leadership spot just because they're not leading as well or as fast as you want them to lead, because you're still teaching them how to lead. So there's coaching and teaching going along through this entire process.
Do you think Penny is paying a little bit more attention to the details? Because I don't know, Ruben. I think this season really is a make it or break it season for him. I'm not trying to throw him under the bus or none of that. I'm a big Penny Hardaway supporter, but I'm just reading the room and the tea leaves and how much this program wants to be competitive and compete for championships, compete to be in a P4. If Penny doesn't perform this season, I don't think he sees another season. So that's why I think he's really about that chemistry, because when you look at last season, he probably realized, okay, talent-wise, we're good, but it's just, like you said, it's just something there that it's not translating to wins.
So my guess is he's always paid attention to the details.
Yeah.
The difference is, do you have a group that's going to listen and execute? I'll give you an example. I have 3 teams that I coach. An older team, a middle team, and then a younger team.
3 teams is wild.
My middle team can execute every play we call every single day of the week. My older team can't execute those plays to save their lives. They are taught the exact same plays in the exact same way with the exact same energy every single time. But some teams don't respond. They just don't get it. And so that team that can't execute those plays, for example, for Penny last year, it's not that he wasn't, I would be shocked if he suddenly wasn't paying attention to the box out or the passing angle or the closeout or whatever. I doubt that very seriously. I'm sure they had screamed those things till they were blue in the face.
They just weren't responding.
You had a group that just wasn't going to do it.
Yeah.
And now he's got a team, of guys that seem like they want to do it.
Yeah.
And so he's re-energized.
Yeah.
Because now I'm not wasting my breath when I coach. These guys want to do it. The team is responding and they're able to execute what he's wanting done. That is the difference. It has nothing to do with what he didn't care more or he cares more or cared less. It has everything to do with the team he has now is responding to coaching.
Yeah. So we've heard about Penny talk about chemistry. We've heard Josh and Jaden talk about leadership and all of that. Well, let's move over to football, because that's also a big thing about leadership and expectations. Charles Huff, man, he's got some good sound bites.
He does.
He was asked about preseason expectation, and his answer wasn't really about talent at all. Take a listen.
You can rank our parts. No one can rank the sum of our parts. You can say, hey, we got a all-star defensive end who had whatever last year. We have a X, Y, and Z this that did whatever last year. But no one except myself and the people in this building know how that defensive end has gelled with the rest of the D-line. No one knows how the D-line has gelled with the O-line, how the wideouts have gelled with the linebackers. You can't rank that. There is no metric to rank the sum of the parts. The only thing that does that is game day.
Ruben, thoughts?
He is one of my favorites because that man is 100, keeps it 100 all the time.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love not hearing coach speak. So he's correct. What he's saying is basically, hey, all the hype and all the talk, none of that matters till the game comes. Because that's the truth. In football, and more so than any other sport, football is very compartmentalized. The D-line goes over there. The offensive line goes over there. Quarterbacks work over here. Receivers are over there. Running backs, DBs. Everybody's split up. And then you're trying to put these puzzle pieces together for the game days. And so what he's saying is, yeah, we might have great parts, but we're not going to know how it works until we put the machine together and hit go.
Yeah.
And he's 1,000% right.
Yeah, and speaking of that, about getting to go and bringing it back to this thing of team building, he's not talking about just building chemistry on the field. He's making sure the team experiences before the season starts. He compared one of the Tigers' preseason team building trips, Ruben, to a famous football movie. Take a listen.
I'm going to channel our inner Remember the Titans kind of process. I had a chance when I played at Hampton University and didn't know that this experience would actually come to pass and help me be a better head coach now. The real Herman Boone actually came and spoke to our team at Hampton University. Got a chance to talk with him afterwards when Coach Taylor, our head coach, told us that Herman Boone was coming. We all thought Denzel was coming, so we were kind of like, oh, this is great. Well, the real Herman Boone walked in, and we were like, you're not Herman Boone. Like, where's Denzel? But obviously he coached in Virginia, was close to Hampton, had a chance to come and speak to our team one fall camp. Afterwards, I got a chance to speak to him, and he said that when they went and got away from all of the noise, when they went to camp and got away from all of the noise, that's when their team really came together.
I love it.
Yeah, I agree, 1,000%. You can put the phones down. Everybody just is together. It really helps you build.
Y'all doing any team building trips to Victory Ranch?
No, we're not.
Three teams.
Yeah, we're not going out. First of all, I'm not camping at all in any way, shape, or form. So that's not happening. But we do, I know we got to get out of here real quick, but I'll tell you something we do. Yeah. So at the end of every summer, we do something called Team Karaoke Night, where each team has to sing, each group of parents has to sing, players have to sing. I don't get on the mic.
Oh,
but it's team building.
This guy.
when you're a leader, you don't have to get on the mic.
Oh, whatever. Get this guy out of here. Oh, brother. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, SEC Media Days are in the books. An old friend joins us to break down the biggest takeaways from the Rebels' trip to Tampa, what they could mean for the season ahead. Stay with us on the 24th floor. Welcome back to the 24th floor. SEC Media Days are in the books. And if you're an Ole Miss fan, there was no shortage of storylines from Pete Golden's candid comments to the expectations surrounding quarterback Trinidad Chambliss.
Yeah, and with fall camp right around the corner, obviously there's plenty of stuff to unpack before they actually hit the field. All the storylines that everybody wants to talk about, that some of them won't be storylines once the season starts.
Exactly. So let's do exactly that with the man you can't talk Ole Miss football, or actually just Ole Miss athletics without. He's the host of the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, which you can catch right here on 24 Plus YouTube and anywhere you download your podcast. Welcome back to the show, Mr. Stephen Willis. It's that time for football. I got to get the clap.
Well,
that's what I liked.
Yeah, probably should go to a doctor too, Denson, at that point.
That's my joke, right? That's my joke, right?
Just saying, when you say it like that.
The clap.
You can snap that ball. All right, on to actual football and not my crew jokes. Steven, how's it feel to get finally closer to talking about some pigskin?
Yeah, we are limping over the finish line, and I did not realize that I got into a time machine and went back to 1978, so I appreciate that, guys.
You're welcome.
So, Stephen, let's start with the big picture. SEC Media Days behind us. What's the biggest thing Ole Miss fans should have taken away from what they heard in Tampa?
That there's a chance, like a real chance, that Ole Miss has a Kirby Smart level coach.
Ooh,
now we need to see what it looks like on the field. We saw the playoff run, but literally everything that he has been asked to do since he has taken over, and he took over a storm back in December, he has exceeded with flying colors. And if you travel that over to this football season, if they have a 10-win season, 11-win season, you may have just found that special guy that you did not know that you had. And I do think that the performance by Pete Golding at Media Days was eye-opening to people that hasn't been paying attention to Pete Golding up until now, because he was a star. Everybody was absolutely wowed. He is completely authentic and genuine, and all of that stuff moved over on the football field. If they can win games, they're going to win a lot of them.
So when you talk about it, I think for people who maybe didn't get to watch media days, because the average person doesn't get to watch media days, right? So Pete Golding seemed or came across as kind of a quiet, just show up and do your job kind of guy, because you had Lane Kiffin, who was very eccentric, who was the head coach, right? So it almost kind of masked a little of who Pete Golding was. What did you get to see? What did people get to see from Pete Golding during media days that they hadn't really seen before?
The weird thing is, like, before he was the defensive coordinator at Ole Miss, he was with Nick Saban, which means he spoke one time per year to the press.
What?
So,
you
nobody
don't get to talk. Nick
knew
don't let anybody talk.
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't know what you have until you get up in front of a microphone. And the first thing you realize is the guy's comfortable. You can see why he is such a good recruiter, the way he communicates things, the way he is very attentive listening, the way he is straightforward, and all of that, all of these good things that people just relate to. He just throws it out in a press conference setting, which is refreshing whenever everything is so guarded in a press conference. Basically, all a press conference is good for now in college sports is by distributing talking points. Pete Golding coming out with authentic things and saying real stuff, putting some real red meat out there for people to chew on a little bit. That is puts you in the good graces of the people that are watching. And when you look at his defense and everything that he knows, it's just different because everything is so buttoned up on the college sphere right now. And because of that, Pete Golding got a standing ovation when he walked off the podium, and that wasn't by Ole Miss media. It was just because he was that entertaining talking for 20 minutes. And stuff like that is going to pay off. Like I said, if they win games and allow him to next gear this just a little bit, Pete Golding could be a problem.
I will say the Mid-South area is spoiled when it comes to his head coaches. They got really personable guys. Memphis has got Coach Huff, and then Ole Miss has Pete Golding. They always give you something when you listen to their press conference. Stand on Pete. Now, I know going into media day, everybody wanted to see how he would address the Lane Kiffin situation because that's all we talked about for the past couple of months. He said, Stephen, that basically everybody won in the end. But considering how emotional that coaching change was, do you think that kind of pushes toward finally closing that chapter, or do you think that happens after Ole Miss LSU this season? Or it never ends?
It's after the game. After the game, it's down. In 1998, 1999, Tommy Tuberville was the coach at Ole Miss. And you had a similar situation to where he went to Auburn. And the next year, Ole Miss went to Auburn. And the build-up to that game was absolutely nuts. Ole Miss ended up winning whole 9 yards like that. But the year after that, Tommy Tuberville just became Auburn's coach. I think something similar is going to happen here after the football game. You're going to have all of the build-up. It's going to happen. You're either going to win it or you're going to lose it, and then you're going to kind of move on just a little bit.
Speaking of moving on, let's move on to the guy that most people are really keyed on right now, and that's, in my mind, the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy in the upcoming season is Trinidad Chambliss. What was your takes from SEC Media Days when it comes to Trinidad Chambliss?
He's just one of the most charismatic dudes I've seen in a place where they always send charismatic dudes. You know, you're going there. It would not surprise me. Now they might pick something else because of everything happening, but he would be the Dr. Pepper Fansville guy. He's going to be getting national commercials this year because he really has that charisma that you just can't fake, honestly. He seems like such a genuine guy on the outside, and then you look at him on the football field, and it's like, oh my goodness, that's prime Russell Wilson out there. That's Baker Mayfield running around, and he can do all of this other stuff. He really is kind of a unicorn, and Ole Miss struck gold with this guy.
Well, he said a phrase that he said a lot during media days was unfinished business, but he was very quick to really turn the page on last season, saying last year was last year, playoff run is over, and that the standard now, Stephen, is winning a national championship. Is that realistic pressure, or exactly is that where Ole Miss should be as a program?
Listen, I think he legitimately believes that. Remember, when he was at Ferris State his last year, in 2024, they won the national title. The next year, he transferred to Ole Miss, and they were 18 seconds away from playing for a national title. Yep. So I think he legitimately believes that. Now, this roster, this is a better football team. Now, I don't know if the record's going to be better. This is a better football team than what they had a year ago. Last year, they weren't supposed to make that run. They were kind of a year early. This year, you've got Kewan and Trinidad and all the experience back. You don't even think about it. Ole Miss has 3 players in their wide receiver room, 5-star players in high school. And you don't even think about that because they lost to Sean Stribling and Harrison Wallace and those guys on the outside. So the talent is there around the team. You have a belief system. I really like what is being instilled on the outside. What they've done the last 6 months, I'm pretty impressed to see where they go. And whenever they kick off against Louisville on September 6th, they're going to go into that game with expectations because I think they genuinely all think that the goal is win the national title.
Yep.
So with all that having been said, though, like how difficult is that in the SEC? I mean, we got to talk about how difficult that is. Confidence is great. But so much of making it that far has to do with the matchups and the timings of the games on that schedule. You know, I think that's a thing that people forget about sometimes is, you know, we're really talented, but then you got to map out that schedule and say, okay, where's the one place you can afford a hiccup, you know, or where's the place you can't afford a hiccup, or what's your trap game, you know, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe in the beginning you can afford a hiccup.
Yeah, I think if you have a hiccup, I think that Florida game down in the swamp after the LSU game. They're not great, but that building is not going to be any easier because they're not quite as good. Remember, in 2024, Ole Miss went down there with a chance to go to the playoffs and laid an egg.
They lost.
Yeah. So that coming off the LSU game, that's a problem. Whenever you look at the Auburn game on Halloween, smack dab in the middle of Texas and Georgia.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that could be a problem. I do think with the strength of schedule, I think this is the year a 9-3 team gets into the tournament.
Correct. You are correct.
And I think that there is a little bit of margin for error for Ole Miss. They're going to be good enough and get the marquee wins necessary to where a slip up here and there. I don't think there's a Kentucky on Ole Miss's schedule this year. But that Florida type stuff would be difficult, like LSU in 2024. That those type games are there, and I do think Ole Miss will slip up on 1 or 2 of those. But talent-wise, they have all the ability in the world to make it through it. And the schedule might be difficult, like at Texas, playing Georgia, at Oklahoma again against those lifelong rivals, Oklahoma Sooners. You know, it's going to be interesting to see what they put together, but it's all games that a year ago, with the exception of that Texas game. So I'm sure they think they're going to be able to do it this year as well.
I know you said a 9-3 team could probably get into the playoffs. I agree. But I'm hoping Ole Miss doesn't look at it and be like, okay, if we lose 3 games, we'll still get in. Because even with the season that they had last year, we're going to remember it because we lived in this area. But in the grand scheme of things, you'll remember it for, did you win the conference? And did you win it all? Did you win the Natty? And Ole Miss did neither of those. And for me, as an Oklahoma State alum and fan, that's all I ever care about with any school. It's like, did we win the conference? Did we win the Natty? So I would hope Ole Miss is looking at, okay, let's win the conference. Let's get to Atlanta and play for an SEC championship game. And then, of course, let's win it all and win the national title.
Yeah, I think their goal is go 1-0 every week.
Yeah.
The really cool thing about this Ole Miss football team is your best players are also your leaders. Yeah. When you look at the 3 players that got sent to SEC Media Days, it was Trinidad Chambliss, Kejuan Lacey, and Will Eccles, the 3 best players on the football team. And those are the leaders moving forward. And when you have leaders setting national championship expectations and looking at it 1-0 and talking about the Louisville Cardinals and all that and saying all the right things, everybody else is going to stand up and listen to those guys because it's the best players on the team. It's an interesting thing because a lot of time the best players are not the best leaders. And a lot of time the best leaders are just people in the background that are just really good dudes. It is very rare that the leaders are the best players on your roster.
Last thing, Stephen, before we let you go, this isn't related to Media's Day, but this is recent news, and I think, me and Ruben think it's going to be big news in the college football world. Ole Miss suing 2 former players who transferred to LSU with Lane Kiffin. They're seeking nearly $1 million for what it says is a breach of their revenue-sharing agreements after they signed deals to stay and then transfer. How significant could this case be, just not for Ole Miss, but for college football as a whole?
Yeah, this is kind of the first guardrail that could get put down because in this era of rev share, this is the first time contract and the actual school, because it's not the Grove Collective that's suing them. It is Ole Miss. It is literally the university. So everybody in the country, if this goes to court, they want Ole Miss to get their money because they want that guardrail with everything that is going on. Listen, Ole Miss had no choice but to do this. They didn't want to do it. They wish they didn't have to do it, but they have to do it because if you don't, Prince Willem Mamiel and Devin Harper, those 2 players, next year in the next transfer portal cycle becomes 10 because that's how human nature works. So in order to have a contract, it has to be enforceable. If it's not enforceable, it's not a contract. It's merely a suggestion. And I think this is the absolute right thing for Ole Miss to do. And everybody needs to root that this comes out the right way for Ole Miss.
Yeah, I know we got to go. I 1,000% agree. You want to be treated like a professional. You want to get paid. Then you got to adhere to the guidelines that you agreed to. You signed a contract. You took the money. And so now you're bound by the contract. We're bound by contracts. I mean, it's what it is.
Ole Miss is always in these lawsuits. Isn't it just funny, Stephen? Just always something.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, it's good for content people like me, so I guess we have that.
Well, Stephen, we always appreciate the insight. Before we let you go, as always, tell everybody what you're working on and where they can find your work.
We are getting ready to start fall camp. We're finally here at football season. You can catch my work on YouTube at Locked On Ole Miss or wherever you get your podcast. Also, join the Everydayer Club. That's lockedonolemmiss.supercast.com, and you can get a little bit extra and go ad-free as well. Lots of fun there, and I look forward to seeing you.
All right, Stephen, appreciate you, big dog. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, when we come back, it's time for one of our favorite parts of the show.
The best thing we all saw. We'll each bring you something from the world of sports and beyond that caught our attention this week. That's when we come back.
On the 24th floor. It's that time. It's the best thing we saw. And as always, we bring our friend to the program, Mr. Ezekiel Telemaco, recurring guest at this point. Zeke, I already know what your best thing is. You're going to do the I told you so. That's his thing.
Yeah.
But for this will be your thing. Go ahead. Get it out the way. Let's go.
We only have so much time, so I'm not going to be bragging too much. But LeBron has found a new home. The king has found a new home, as some people would call it. I wouldn't call him the king in my eyes. But when it comes to LeBron, he has landed a new home, like I just mentioned. Philadelphia, the 76ers. I think that they have a good chance to not only be contenders, but win a championship. I was saying this before they landed LeBron James. I was saying this when they traded for Jaylen Brown, and all they had to give up was a washed Paul George and 2 first-round picks that are going to be worth practically nothing because they're going to be at the top of the Eastern Conference. But in terms of what you need to know, I guess my question for all of you is, do you think that this puts them in that top-tier level when it comes to being a contender in the league?
Yeah. But like I said, regular season demons, not going to get it done in the playoffs when the coaches got time to scheme for them.
So just so I'm clear, you both think that current LeBron is good enough or still able and capable to lead a team to a championship?
No, we didn't say that at all. We didn't say he's going to lead. He said that they're going to be able to win the title.
I don't think they win the title.
I
thought that they were going to win the title
demon.
prior to acquiring him. He's going to be playing the 1. I don't know how you feel about that, but they're putting him at point guard. He's going to be playing point guard.
No matter what.
Point guard.
They already announced that he's playing point guard.
I think that he's more of a detriment at this point because he becomes so much of a distraction during the game at this point. Yeah, so this whole thing is going to end up being another LeBron farewell tour. You know, they're gonna play it that way the whole time. Now, is he going to be great for selling tickets? Absolutely.
Oh, he's already sold out the next 2 years.
Yeah, ticket prices are going crazy in Philly.
Them 23 black jerseys, like them AI versions, black jerseys.
From the business standpoint, it's great. But product on the floor,
regular season demons.
I mean, think of the talent he had with them at LA.
But this is better talent.
It's a better talent. Again, I thought that
Luka's pretty dang good. Now Luka don't play no defense, but Luka's pretty good offensive talent. They could not figure out. Now coaching maybe will be different too, but so I'll give you some of those.
Maxey and Edgecombe are way better than Luka and Reeves as a duo, and then Joel Embiid. But Joel Embiid's only going to play like 40
he's going to play
games.
6 games. All right,
let's get to Ruben's best thing.
I do think that's a good thing that you saw. I mean, I think that's a good choice. That's right as well. All right, here's my best thing that I saw. Being a little bit of the troll that I am. Diego Pavia gets cut by the Baltimore Ravens.
The first Heisman finalist to not even make it to real training camp
yes.
to get cut.
And so here's why I think it's a good thing. It needs to end. The story needs to end. I really did enjoy watching him in college because he had that chip on his shoulder. He played with that like, hey, he's undersized. He's going to figure out a way to help his team win. He found ways to help his team win in college. There's no doubt. You can love him, hate him, whatever. That's the reality.
That's nice.
The moment that college ended and we went to the Heisman Trophy ceremony and everything that happened after that,
became a Barstool.
Yes, he was he scarred his own legacy by the way he carried himself out. So by that point, I didn't even want him to be successful in the NFL.
Pimping his mom out.
Yeah,
that's supposed to be.
But you know what's the saddest part about this is that he had $0 in guaranteed money. He did all of that.
And then the funny thing is he's not even playing in the Canadian League. They don't want him either.
It's pathetic.
There has been talk that he might go D2, come back, try to sue, get back because he'd have one more year of D2 eligibility.
Well, I'll say RIP to him, and the P doesn't stand for peace. It stands for something else. But I can't say it on this program. All right, let's get to my best thing I saw. Roll it.
Denson?
Roll it.
I want you guys to give a warm welcome to our new Black Panther, Mr. David Johnson.
For the second week in a row, fellas, I have to go in the movie world. Now, this was polarizing. It shouldn't have been polarizing. David Johnson is our new Black Panther. People kept calling to recast T'Challa, R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman, one of the best to ever do it. And when they finally did it, I think people were mad of who they chose because they wanted Damson Idris from Snowfall, but they chose him. But if you know ball about film, David Johnson is that guy. The Long Walk, Alien Romulus, he's by far my favorite black actor right now. I was very happy for him to be named.
But you're ruling out the relationship that Iris has with a certain female in the previous relationship that Michael B. Jordan had with that female as well, Lori Harvey.
We're getting into some TMZ stuff right now.
Hold on. Wait, so go over that. What do you mean by that?
Iris is dating Lori Harvey, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really keep up with this stuff too
you're talking
often.
about Damson Idris?
Yes.
That don't have nothing to do on
You don't
MCU,
think so?
man.
You don't think that has anything to do with that?
If you read the article, Ryan Coogler said he watched The Long Walk, which was my favorite movie of 2025, by the way. And he said after he watched that movie, he said, that's my guy. He said he called Kevin Feige and said, I don't need to audition, nothing, that's my guy. And if you watch that movie, my favorite movie of 2025, he is that man. So put some respect on David Johnson. I'm very happy for him.
I'm not sure if we're allowed to say whatever that is, but I'll say ABC 24 forever. That might be trademarked or something. I don't want Christina calling up my phone telling me, hey, Zeke, you know?
All right. I think we're out of time now officially. That's going to do it for today's episode of the 24th Floor. I'm not even sure how we ended after what we just did. Let's just get up out of here. Roll them credits, baby. Roll them credits.